Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Let's see, let's see.
Can't do a void damn thing. Okay, bring it to
What do
life.
I need? I still need Tazoma and Rune Marrow. Okay.
Void, there are whole decks. I'll see you later? Somewhere, there's a version of me.
I still need those.
Ordis has been counting stars, operator. All accounted for.
Hello, new viewer. Oh, I'm not new. It might be the opposite, actually. Let's see. What's a rotation? That's not bad. Also not bad. Okay. I just need like two things. Nope, that's... 85. 185. 97. 185. 85. $5,000, $7,000. Oh, there's an ad break. That's not fun. $857, $951. However, mine does blast damage. Well, this one is quite a bit better. Okay.
The fearful conspirator. One haunted day in Deviri, Sybil awoke with
How was your day
thought.
been?
If I could destroy what I fear, I wouldn't have to fear it anymore. They've kept me locked up inside my own mind all these years, frightening me with their tricks. Now I need you to make them afraid. I can't bear the sight of those things. Threats is favored. Like something out of a vapor vision. You're going to have to kill it. And take whatever it was put here to guard. Sybil looked in horror upon what had been done in her name. Surely there would be consequences.
Let's see. I need rune marrow among other things, but yeah, mainly rune marrow.
I think this generator pumps the air in Deviri, and it's broken.
Yeah, no, that's not good. That is.
Sybil's fear spiraled. The more she tried to be bold, the greater grew her fear of being found out. Oh no, there's something wrong in the undercroft. I can't go down there, not after what I saw that time.
Crucibles. Bizarre contraptions left behind from the time of Scholar's Landing. Master their alchemy to understand the elemental forces you wield. Locate a crucible. Your enemy's core force the crucibles need. Retrieve them. Forces of heat and electricity unleash radiation when combined.
I now need to get Hildren in regular game. Because this is ridiculous. This is not even like a good build for Hildren, it's just the default build. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Replicate these elemental combinations as you modify your weapons and warframes.
I have done 80, I have done like no damage, but like no rune marrow. Still no rune marrow. More magazine capacity, why not?
Her brutal actions had consequences. Like a deadly pestilence, Sybil's fear spread across Duviri. Listen, if I'm ever going to get out of here, set up someplace new.
Hello?
Going to need funds.
I pressed the button like 5 times, it didn't want to work.
Maybe you can find some ducks pay chests. They won't miss them.
I see. Game! Game! Swear, it only works like half the time. Well, my game frame rate's broken now. That's wonderful. That broke my frame rate. Well, no, my frame rate's broken. And that broke my frame rate. Duviri bug is at it again. Maybe doing it again will fix the bug.
Damn it!
Ah, cold damage affliction is so useful.
Duviri now lived in terror of Scythil. What a long shadow this scrawny little figure had cast.
More status chance for less duration is fine to me.
I'm so sorry, dear one.
What kind of idiot robs a tomb? I saw them taking the grave goods into a cave. Fetch them back before the dead get upset.
Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. My game is completely broken right now because of the portal. I'm at half the frame rate I should be, and it's very inconsistent, and that's kind of annoying me. But I can work with it. I think it'll fix once I go back into the Dorma zone. I think.
Scythil was afraid to go on. But she
I think
was
this will
even
fix
more
it.
afraid to stop.
Going back into the Undertropolis, maybe,
Affairs were
potentially.
allying
How has
against
your
her.
day been?
You have to go to the place where bad dreams are real. The Undercroft. Whatever's wrong there, make it right. Hurry!
I am fine. I'm trying to make sure my frame rate doesn't break itself. Gotta make sure my game doesn't break itself, actually, for that matter.
Destroyed by
Oh, my frame rate's fixed.
intervene and
Alright,
change
well
the
that's
fate.
useful.
No time.
Although I'm on the wrong setting.
Already a new onslaught begins.
I see. That's nice. That's nice. I didn't think my tabs would ever work or anything. Well, that's nice.
Your resolve is being tested. Do not falter. Prepare yourself. A fresh wave approaches.
So, do you play Warframe or have you just been searching random tags?
Like ashes, the enemy has been scattered to the void.
You were never on my side to start with, were you? All along, you've been
Oh.
plotting with them, siding with them, preparing to betray me. It's time for you to be afraid.
You will need my Orvius to challenge this Aura Worm. Find it.
Um.
Oh, my aching back.
Um. Oh, right. If you use exclamation mark Discord, you can join my server and you can see when I go live next.
Busier? Couldn't remember when though, if you ask me.
There is a bot in there that tells when I go live next.
that's the good stuff.
Oh, how sweet. They wish to show their gratitude. Follow them, Outlaw. Oh, please do follow them.
Guess you like the pet.
Another Zuri. Okay. Um. Well, that's glitched.
Yeah, who's a good boy?
Think we should.
That was that. Extraordinary.
Should we? I think we should.
For an instant, as she shed her pitiful human form, Sybil was no longer afraid, for she had become fear.
The aura worm Sybil flies in the stark terror of the storm, lightning fanged. All fear.
Okay, what can I get bailed out by the greedy? Well, that worked.
To tame a wild cave, it must be ridden. The aura worm is no different.
It's crawling on me!
You've mounted the beast, but are you in control?
Hello, hello.
You have control. Cut the ties that bind.
Well, come on in.
Take the beast through the portal.
Here we go.
The beast is cornered. Wear it down, but be alert. Worms have many tricks.
No, that's not gonna work out well.
I'll drag you down with me! Don't think I won't!
Alright, I put all my stuff into melee. Not melee, gun. Didn't put much into melee. Even though I actually quite like melee. Of course, hindsight is always 2020. Wish I just had more reload speed. That's like the one thing holding this back is reload speed. In my opinion, at least. Okay then, that's special. There we go.
Emotion is no longer in turmoil. The calm of the true warrior
Okay.
prevailed.
What happened? My head. Why can't I remember?
Some faces tell a story. Yours, more of an epic tragedy. You remain quite unpredictable.
No rain. How was your day?
Everything you need.
Wrong one.
Okay. What do you
Incarnate. Are you kidding me? I am so close. Oh, that's so annoying, actually.
stay sharp?
I'll solve that later. Oh, what brings you into my stream? I should probably do a restart because of that bug.
too many rage songs.
There we go.
Still true. Always
There we
will
go.
be.
Okay.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Just gotta build that damage up. Once that damage is built up, well, a lot happens. My entire build is reliant on the fact that I need hits to build up. Then I can do stuff like this. Oh, I don't care. You guys are not scary. And combo duration ended.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Currently working on maxing out Zeneric. But I do run a lot of energy focused builds. You. I hate these underwater segments so much. Well, until they, maybe potentially add more to it. Can he spawn underwater? I don't know. Or is he just gonna spawn on site? Yeah, that would happen. That would be what would happen if they did. I'm on the wrong build. I'm on the wrong build. That's why I'm doing no damage.
The enemy is broken. Well done. Now get to extraction.
Okay, I need to switch back my build. I'm on the wrong build. That's why that did 0 damage. Oh, that's not fun. That did 0 damage. I need to switch back my build. I'm on the wrong build. Oh boy, that was bad. Well, I'm glad I came in here with the frame I did. So that would have done 0 damage. I would have done 0 damage if I didn't have the frame I was playing. Am I on the wrong build? Oh, yeah, yep. No. Weird. Glitched. That's weird. I need more arcanes. Why did... Oh, because I didn't have headshot. I didn't have... Galvanized strobe build up yet. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. However, I need to... Is there no one playing? That's ridiculous. I just want to get to this so I can get the Steel Path version and get more rewards. Incursions are basic enough. Oh, almost at tier 2. That's actually pretty good. What do I have in here? Oh. That's what I have. Right. Right. I can always queue the... Oh, as soon as I go back, I'll find some. Okay. That's how it works. Spawning you in water should not be allowed. Oh, I hate these water segments so much. Hello? I'm literally... There we go. Oh, okay. Oh. Well, that was worth it.
You've reached the pump station. Look for
Where am I?
pipes and break them open.
I don't know where I am. Oh. Oh, there is an ad break starting in 3 minutes. Unfortunately.
Good. Now start the pumps and flood this place. The pumps have started. Guard the controls. The Grenier must not stop the flooding.
Oh, I'm out of the water finally. Oh, I hated being in the water. I hate being in the water in this game so much. Okay, well there's my damage. There we go. Not as high as I thought it would be. So they don't have stuff built up, but you know, it's galvanized is not built up. That might be why.
Flooding complete. Proceed to the caves below.
Oh, that is so glitchy. That's weird. I don't like how weird. Okay, that's very weird. I don't like that. I don't like this note at all. What? I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am. I think I'm glitched. Oh. That does work still. I was stuck. Huh.
You are nearing one of Tilregor's newest creations. Make sure it never sees the surface.
I was glitched. Well, that would have been good to know. They are far away. Like, I can't get through the door. Oh, of course I can't. Of course I can't. Into the water I go.
That beast won't be able to threaten any Tenno in the field.
No, that's not even worth my trying. I just want to get out of this stupid place. I hate these missions so much. This might be the worst planet in the game, simply for the water missions. Jeez. Takes you so long to traverse the map with all these water locations. Jeez. That should not have taken as long as I did. That's how little I played anything dealing with archery. I don't even have my archery maxed out, despite being in Steel Path and all that stuff. That's 145. That's ridiculous. Who do I even run for this? Do I run Folly? Do I run Valkyr? Verona? What do I even run here? Wrong thing. Oh boy, what do I even run here? Valkyr's not tanky enough. Molly may be a liability. Garuda may be right. Liability, Wisp, reliability. Volt, Walvin, no. Caliban? Ollie? Hmm. What is this max out? 200%. That's comedy. That's kind of fun. What in the world? I've never used this before. What is this maxed out? That's probably good if I had a reason to use it. And then there's this, which is crazy. Arcane Fury being maxed out is pretty good, I'd say. I could use Folly's weapon, but Folly's weapon would not be good enough. And that's part of the problem. Curiosity's sake, how much more multi-shot can I get? Nothing. Because of the way those work. That's kind of annoying. I just want a full multi-shot build. That would be hilarious. And Argon Strobe, same reason as Galvanized Strobe. Yeah. Although it is quite a bit better. And that's pretty much the thing that's keeping me. I can't use it though. Because I have a full Forma build, but it's not quite full Forma. Could put a Forma there. I do have Forma. Do I have a better lens? No. I don't. This does 2%. An Eidolon would do like 5. Would do 4.25%, which is quite a lot. This part about this one, you don't really need fast hands, even though fast hands is pretty good. What? I'm trying to replace. Even though fast hands is pretty good, but only takes it down by half a second. Look at that damage fall off, by the way. I'm gonna take off my main mod. Oh, that's like half damage almost. It's actually crazy. What's crazy about this gen, right? It's unique. It's unique trait. It has a high critical chance built into it, plus 65% from point strike default, plus galvanized scope, which is even more, plus galvanized scope built up, (240% plus 120%). That's 360%. 360% critical chance plus 150%. 510% crit chance right here. Theoretically, additional 510% crit chance with the base being 26. So 26% chance times 510% is it 26 or 23? 26 times 510. I need to read that correctly. That's just a base times 510. That's 133% crit chance. Just from this, not even including the fact that it has a high crit chance built in when you're aiming. A lot of damage. That's all I can say. It's a lot of damage. Just a lot of damage. I need to refresh. I need to back out so it can update. It's glitched. It's glitched. Oh. No. 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 Okay. I need to be right back.
After 6 months of talking about the RAM crisis coming, it is officially here. Switch 2, $50 more expensive. PS5 and Series X, $150 more. Now Valve haven't raised the price of the Steam Deck because it's been out of stock for months. I mean, look, this is not what's supposed to happen. The older a console is, the cheaper it's supposed to be. So where is my dang price drop? The answer is not anytime soon, my friends. The result is that PS5 sales are tanking, and this is directly affecting the next generation. When asked how the RAM crisis will affect the PlayStation business, Sony's CFO immediately pivoted to the PS6 with, quote, "We have not yet decided on what timing we will launch the new console or at what prices." Not a, "we don't comment on future hardware." They are publicly telling investors that the chip shortage is causing them to rethink their next generation plans. This points in one big direction for me. The current generation of hardware isn't going anywhere anytime soon. As bad as prices are now, it looks like things are going to get worse before they get better. The reason for all of this is of course the RAM crisis. AI data centers are absorbing the world's supply of memory, storage, and quickly CPUs and GPUs as well. This has caused prices to spike and supplies to plummet as the few foundries actually making cutting edge stuff have pivoted to where the money is. AI, baby! You know what we don't have enough of? Data centers. PlayStations? Psh, no one needs PlayStations. Who needs Switches? I just need more data centers in my life. But it's not just the RAM crisis the companies have to deal with. Back in April 2nd of last year, Nintendo famously announced the $450 price of the Switch 2. Now this was an unpopular decision. Myself and many others expected it to be $400. But the real story was what also happened on April 2nd. The US slapped massive tariffs on, well, basically everything, and absolutely the Switch 2 was caught up in it. Now this really got Nintendo by surprise. That night, their president at the time told The Verge that their $450 price tag was decided on without factoring in potential 40% plus tariffs. Now this caused Nintendo to delay the pre-order date and openly consider whether or not they actually needed to raise the price before they shipped a single console. Now ultimately they did opt to stick it out at $450, probably because they had already committed to making millions and millions of Switch 2s, which did enable one of the largest console launches of all time. A year on, it's clear this was a smart move. Within the first couple of months, Switch 2 stock was plentiful basically everywhere, a far cry from earlier Nintendo launches where consoles were hard to find for sometimes years after launch. Well, except the Wii U. No one gave a shit. You know what? That's actually not true. The Wii U did sell out, but once it got restocked, it never moved. But with tariffs still not totally out of the picture, Nintendo have run into another problem. The same RAM crisis the entire industry is dealing with. At this point, both Sony and Microsoft have raised pricing by a full $150, and meanwhile, every time someone asks Nintendo about price hikes, up until this point, they basically say, "Nah, we good fam, don't worry about it." And then suddenly, with everything else being more expensive, that $450 price tag actually didn't look crazy. However, they have finally given in. Believe me, I am not going to sit here and tell you that price hikes are a good thing. But something to know about Nintendo is that unlike Sony and Microsoft, they actually traditionally sell console hardware at a small profit. But thanks to all of this, they're supposedly selling the Switch 2 at a pretty significant loss, and the investors have been really hammering Nintendo over it. So the fact that they only are raising the price by $50, it's not as bad as it could have been. And they're giving everyone plenty of heads up. The price doesn't hit $500 until September 1st, giving you nearly 4 months as opposed to Sony, who gave everyone less than a week before hiking the PS5 price. The other interesting story here is Nintendo's other forecast. They're expecting to sell just 16.5 million Switch 2s the next year, compared to analyst estimates before the price hike of over 20 million. So essentially Nintendo is telling investors, yeah, we're raising the price, and yeah, we are gonna lose customers over it. Now, I kinda get it. I mean, even for a big company like Nintendo, losing a significant amount of money on each console that goes out the door adds up quick. But they kinda don't really have a choice. Xbox at least has the Series S as a semi-budget option. Nintendo, they only have the original 9-year-old Switch, which is absolutely showing its age at this point. Not to mention, they're also raising prices on it in some regions for the second time. So what can they do? Well, I think there's an obvious answer. Give us the Switch Lite 2. We demand the light life. I want a Switch Lite 2. Give me a Switch Lite 2. The more times I say this, the more I'm going to will it into existence. Look, here's the thing. As I've discussed many times, the Switch Lite, the best version of the Switch, it was the cheapest, it was the smallest, it was the cutest. which is the only thing I care about when I buy consoles. The original Switch Lite came out 3 years after the original, so if Nintendo are going to follow a similar timeline, we're looking at 2028, and I personally think that's a long time to ask people to pay $500 without a cheaper option. All things being considered, I actually do think Nintendo will ride this one out. I mean, especially if they keep that solid slate of Switch 2 games going like Pokopia and Donkey Kong. I mean, people who want a Switch 2 are still going to mostly buy one. Now, PlayStation has a backup plan, right? Sort of? Maybe? Oh, they don't? Oh no. Their recent earnings call was brutal. The PS5 had its worst quarter of all time, down 46% compared to last year. This means that the PS5 is now actually trending behind where the PS4 was at this point in its life cycle by a full 3.3 million consoles. Now, this is a very different problem for Sony. I mean, sure, the pandemic supply chain caused a lot of issues when the PS5 launched, but as recently as a year ago, the PS5 was trending ahead of the PS4. There is a very clear culprit. The price has been massively hiked. I mean, the PS5 now costs $650, a full $150 more than it did last year, and the PS5 Digital is worse. It is now $200 more expensive than it was when it launched back in 2020. For a console that's taken 5 years to finally hit its stride, this is a really bad look. In their investor brief, they discussed how many PS5s they sell this year are almost entirely being gated by how much memory they can get their hands on at quote-unquote reasonable prices. And it's not just hardware. Sony took a $565 million write-down on Bungie this quarter, essentially admitting that Marathon isn't going to save things. Sony's stock is down over 20% since the start of the year, and I mean, look, there's just not a lot of good news here. Now, it's not a full-on disaster. I mean, the PS5 isn't exactly going anywhere, but the bigger problem really is what comes next. Now, when Sony's CFO talks about changing business models to come up with the best solution and strategy, he's not just being PR safe, and that's definitely not what he sounds like. Now, I believe Sony when they discuss not knowing when they'll actually release the PS6. I mean, at this point, the PS6's architecture is more or less locked. They've been working with AMD on Project Amethyst for years. Their supplier contracts are signed at this point. I mean, they can't just tear it all up and redesign the console because RAM doubled in price, or tripled in price, maybe quadrupled in price. And things are kind of not heading in the right direction either. Most companies are expecting 2027 to be worse for memory than this year, not better. So whether Sony launches the PS6 in late 2027, or they push it to 2028, or even 2029, they might be walking into a more expensive environment than what we're seeing right now. I mean, there's just no good answer here. Delaying doesn't necessarily fix the problem. I think this is why they're talking about new business models out loud. So the rumors point to an upcoming PS6 Lite, which would be Sony's lower priced PS6 variant. So based on the leaks, this will be a third member of the PS6 family alongside the core PS6 as well as the handheld. Basically the PlayStation TV all over again. Ship the portable PS6, but in a smaller form factor with no screen or battery, really as a true competitor to the Series S. I think the reason why the Series S did work is that it matched the performance of the Pro version of the Xbox One, being the One X, while still costing a lot less and with all the benefits of the current generation CPU, SSD, and graphics. Sure, it targets 1080p, but for a very long time, the Series S was the best deal in gaming. If the PS6 Lite can deliver good PS5 beating performance at a significantly lower price point, great, problem solved. But I have some doubts about how cheap it really will be and how many compromises they'll need to make on the performance side of things. Sure, there are other levers they could play with too. I mean, they could try to ship it without a controller to save some money. They could give you discounts based on subscribing to PlayStation Plus, or maybe some kind of all-access plan like Xbox used to offer. I mean, being creative on bringing prices down is a good thing. But if anyone from Sony is watching, I have a different pitch. Come out and say it with me. The PS5 shouldn't go anywhere for many years to come. Now, not as a like, we still support your old hardware kind of thing. No, I mean make the PS5 the actual budget tier that sits below the PS6. Keep it up to date with the same software updates, the same games as much as possible. I mean, the same way that the PC supports everything from Roblox to Pragmata, the PS6 should exist as an upper tier to push things forward, but alongside the PS5, at least until they can actually sell a next-gen console at a reasonable price. Now, Sony has hinted at this in earnings calls, but they keep stopping short of saying it directly. But if you tell people right now that the PS5 that they buy today is going to be a supported current console for the next 4 or 5 years plus, even after the PS6 is launched, I think that goes a long way. I mean, sure, $650 is a lot of money for a console, but like, wouldn't you feel better about knowing that that PS5 you just bought will actually still be relevant for a long ass time? That's the specific phrase, actually. PS5, relevant for a long ass time. And here's the thing, I think Sony should stick with the PS5, but I think Xbox have to. Sony is launching the PS6 from a position of, I would say, relative strength, right? I mean, even after a very rough quarter, they've still got the install base, they've got the games, they've got the brand. The PS6 is going to sell fairly well, no matter if it launches at $600 or $800. But Xbox doesn't have that luxury. Hardware revenue there is down over 30% year over year. The Series X and the Series S have been price hiked twice. And whenever the Xbox Project Helix does launch, all signs point to it being premium priced. $800 to $1,000 there wouldn't surprise me one bit. Which is why, if Xbox is smart, they should also commit to the Series S and the Series X being fully supported alongside Project Helix. To me, I think that the current generation of consoles are powerful enough, right? Like, they're not holding gaming back like previous generations. There should be no rush to leave millions of gamers behind when the alternatives are very, very expensive consoles. Now, there's a lot more to talk about on the Xbox side of things, so make sure to subscribe to the channel as we'll be breaking that all down in a video soon. But if we step back for a second, Sony are being pushed by the RAM crisis toward potentially kind of compromising what that next generation is actually going to look like. Xbox are doing what they can to come back. Nintendo, I mean, they're off to a good start with the Switch 2, but they're definitely not immune to any of this.
The Xbox 360, a console that defined what the Xbox brand was truly capable of. Landmark exclusives, a multiplayer ecosystem that no one could touch. And for a brief window of time, Microsoft was absolutely winning in the living room. And it wasn't even close. The Xbox 360 set the bar so high that the company spent the following 2 console generations chasing that success to very lackluster results. Not only that, but you can make the argument that even 21 years since launch, the Xbox 360 might low-key still be the best Xbox you can buy in 2026. And here's why. You have Uno, you But first, let's talk a little history, and it starts with the original Xbox. Leading up to the development of the 360, it left a solid first impression on the industry. Considering that Microsoft were going up Goliaths such as Sony and Nintendo, jumping into the gaming space was a big bet for the company that ended up showing bones of paying off. For one, the Xbox quite literally had PC gaming DNA. Internally, it featured an Intel Pentium 3, an NVIDIA GPU, a built-in hard drive, and network card with Ethernet, which allowed games like the original Halo to thrive with its awesome graphics and top-notch multiplayer experience that won people over in a meaningful way. By the end of its generation, the original Xbox sold around 24 million units, which might not necessarily hold a candle, especially compared to the PS2, which sold a ton more. But again, for a first-time effort, it was impressive. However, their inaugural home console also came with some hard lessons they couldn't afford to ignore. Aside from being a marketing nightmare outside of Western markets, that PC-esque hardware ended up costing Microsoft an enormous amount of money to manufacture. By the end of it, the original Xbox amounted to a net loss of around $4 billion, which can even sting for a company as large as Microsoft, but at least the potential was there. And thus, the Xbox 360 was born, launching on November 22nd, 2005, kicking off the HD console era a full year before Sony and Nintendo would launch the PS3 and the Nintendo Wii. This head start was absolutely huge for Microsoft. By the time the opposition hit store shelves, the 360 had already built a thriving install base with a growing library of high-definition games. Plus, since it properly utilized the internet, the 360 had received a year of updates to refine the user experience, whereas Sony and Nintendo were just getting started. And speaking of the internet, what really set the 360 apart from its competition was Xbox Live. At around this time, broadband internet was starting to become really popular, and as such, Xbox Live on the 360 became the gold standard for online multiplayer in the living room, with friends lists, party voice chats, achievements, and downloadable content. This was the bee's knees, especially at the beginning of the generation, keeping in mind that Xbox Live was also a paid subscription, which absolutely changed the business model for consoles entirely. Historically, it wasn't uncommon to see brands like Sony and Nintendo sell hardware at a loss in the early years following launch, basically earning their revenue through licensing and game sales until consoles could get cut down and more optimized to lower those core manufacturing costs. However, now that Microsoft had the Xbox Live subscription service, on top of having a killer game lineup that people were genuinely excited to shell out money for, the Xbox team didn't necessarily need to wait on hardware revisions alone in order to turn a profit. And boy did those games do numbers. Gears of War sold 5 million copies, and Halo 3 made $170 million in its first 24 hours, making it the biggest entertainment launch in history at the time. Between having high caliber exclusives and strong third-party support with games such as Call of Duty, Microsoft had finally cracked the code, posting Xbox's first annual profit in 2008 at $426 million in the green. Throughout its run on store shelves, the Xbox 360 would go on to sell around 85 million units worldwide, cementing the Xbox as a real player in the console space, and I have one right here to unbox. But what I have in front of me is an Xbox 360 arcade model. Released a few years after launch, this guy was positioned as a more affordable, stripped-down version of the 360. But most importantly for me, it's a complete in-box console for me to relive the unboxing experience from this era. Also, if you take a closer look at the text here, this is actually a Japanese unit, which is also kind of funny considering the 360 didn't sell quite well in that market. But if you're asking yourself what exactly makes the arcade model budget, where more premium SKUs of the 360 came with big hard drives to store game data and downloadable content, this kit from I believe 2008 comes with a 256 megabyte memory unit, which is a physical card included in the box. Now, I gotta say, if this box is any indicator of the actual condition this console's in, it's probably mint. You can tell this was very well taken care of, though in Japan, this was bought from a store called Wonder Goo. Funny name, I'm sure it's a wonderful establishment to buy game consoles. Woo-wee! That looks clean AF. Oh, actually, now that I have it in my hands, maybe not as nice as I was expecting. So the front of it is very heavily yellowed, and on top of that, kinda smells like cigarettes. Previous ownership woes aside, I must say, I really love the look of the original Xbox 360. I think it's aged particularly well, especially compared to the original PS3, the black piano plastic of which is really prone to scratching. The matte white finish on the 360, on the other hand, while, as we can see here, can definitely yellow over time, I think it is held up so much better, considering this console is the better part of 2 decades old. Oh yeah, the sticker on the back here says this was manufactured on November 1st, 2008. To my right, we have a huge power brick. Holy crap. As someone that admittedly spent more time with the PS3 this generation, this is something that's really foreign to me considering that that console had the power supply built in. The trade-off there obviously being that the original PS3 was much larger than the 360. Wow, I am weak. I could barely hold this with one hand. You see me shaking? Ah, yes, the iconic Xbox 360 controller, which has the original stickers on it. Oh yeah, that feels crisp. Over here, we have the original AV cable, and while this end is composite RCA, you could get one with component leads to get full HD video, though this console also has HDMI on the back. It's important to note because I believe launch 360s did not come with HDMI, but further revisions of this console did. Over here, we have our 256 megabyte memory unit, which slots into the front like so. Boom. And because this is an Xbox 360 arcade model, it also comes with some arcade games included as well. Oh, and if you wanted to upgrade your Xbox 360 arcade with a larger hard drive, you can buy the add-on and slot it right up here. Again, more expensive versions of the 360 came with the hard drive add-on in the box, box. But alas, this is one of the compromises when buying into the cheaper console. Alright, everything's all plugged in, and I'm really curious to see if this 360 has ever been updated. Judging on appearances, probably not, which would actually be kinda cool, because this means we might actually have the blades. Yo! Those are some blades. Hell yeah. Why I really like this home screen a lot is because it's very simple. It's a linear setup. You have your marketplace, Xbox Live for your online stuff, games, media, and system. What an interface. They don't make them like this anymore. Now again, these blades were the original 360 UI before Xbox shifted to the NXE and later on Metro to closer resemble Windows Phone and Windows 8. But why it's really cool that this Xbox in particular is running it is because basically it's impossible to roll back software updates on it. You see, Microsoft incorporated these permanent hardware fuses that physically blow every single time a major version of firmware is installed, preventing it from booting up if it detects an older version running. You can essentially call it a one-way bridge that's built into the CPU that makes it physically impossible to roll back software updates, at least without internal hardware modifications. On top of the fact that this particular example looks pretty mint, even though we have some of the yellowing on here, considering again it's nearly 2 decades old, it's nice. Now the Xbox 360 might have been successful overall, but it had one glaring problem early in its generation: the red ring of death. If you were one of the many unfortunate 360 owners that experienced this, it was a sign that your console was on its last legs. 3 blinking red lights with no clear error messages, no explanation, just a blank screen, and the sinking feeling that something is very, very wrong. The root cause of this was partly a manufacturing defect. Basically, when the console was undergoing thermal cycling, aka heating up while playing games, then cooling after shutdown. This repetitive cycle over and over again would cause microscopic cracks within the solder joints on the GPU itself, compromising its connection to the system, preventing it from booting up. The thing is, this wasn't an isolated incident either. It affected a lot of systems. Microsoft never released official numbers, but estimates suggest as many as 54% of units in the wild at the time experienced this issue. And even if you look at the most conservative figures out there, it's still closer to 23%, which is still a staggering yield of failures, which left Microsoft no choice but to act, extending the warranty on affected systems to 3 years and setting aside over $1.1 billion in repairs. Anecdotally, with the 360 owners I knew back in the day, it wasn't uncommon to find some households going through at least 2 or 3 Xbox 360s within the generation between warranty replacements or straight up buying new ones when Microsoft inevitably released designs to fix the issue. Even then, I remember some friends not wanting to give up a couple of weeks of COD doing an RMA because we were all trying to compete in MLG game battle brackets, and that's where this thing called the towel trick came into play. Basically, you'd wrap your console in towels, deliberately overheating it to let the solder cook, which allowed enough of it to flow to get that GPU working at least for a little bit of time. In hindsight, this was a bit sketchy, but was a hilarious temporary solution until the console inevitably died. Even still, this didn't stop people from buying the Xbox 360 because the games kept coming, the online experience was still unmatched in quality, and then there were also variants like this, the Xbox 360S, which were more or less able to solve this issue entirely to make this the best Xbox generation we've ever seen. Now, specifically on the Xbox 360S, I think Microsoft absolutely nailed it, especially on the design compared to the launch model. IMO, it's my personal favorite, but I think it's also a perfect candidate to modify since you can find examples like this one pretty easily for less than $80. With that being said, what can you actually do with an Xbox 360 in 2026? If you were looking for a fun project to work on, the Xbox 360 modding scene is thriving, especially on the software side, allowing you to really customize the experience and do things that simply aren't possible on a stock console. And best of all, it basically only requires a PC and flash drive to get up and running, but first, it doesn't hurt to clean things up inside and out, especially on older 360s with an unknown history. The plastic shell was a pain in the butt to crack open, but once you're in, access to the fans and motherboard is cake. Ooh, happy I got in there because that looks like Cheeto dust. And again, not knowing what this thing went through, I pulled off the heatsink, wiped off the CPU, applied fresh thermal compound, and put it all back together. All in all, this process took me less than an hour to do, but gave me a solid baseline going into the software side of things. Now, in this video specifically, I'm not going to be going through the steps on how to do this, but if you would like to try it out yourself, here's the tutorial that I used from the DIY guide. A no-nonsense 10-minute video on getting everything set up using a soft mod exploit called a bad avatar. Highly recommended. In case you don't know, soft modding means you don't have to solder anything onto your motherboard or perform any hardware modifications. This is purely a software-based exploit, again, only requiring a PC and a flash drive. That being said, if you are comfortable with hard modding, there are additional benefits to be had, including faster boot times, deeper BIOS control, more flexibility for internal storage upgrades, etc. For the right person, it is absolutely worth doing. However, if you're just curious and want to dip your toes into Xbox 360 modding, the soft mod not only gets the job done, but probably covers most of what you're actually trying to do anyway. Now, past the installation process, something to keep in mind between soft modding and hard modding is where hard modding is more permanent, the soft mod does require you to reactivate the hack every single time the system reboots. Now, thankfully, development on this mod has gone pretty far to where as long as you keep that USB in, it's automated at boot up and takes about 30 to 60 seconds to launch. The centerpiece of our software mod is the Aurora custom dashboard. For me personally, the big draw with this was being able to run ISOs of native games directly from the hard drive regardless of region. It even shows you full metadata and artwork. I can launch my games through here, back up my physical library, and even organize everything using the built-in file manager. With that, you'll have the ability to install cheats, game mods, and even with a bit of Googling, actually install archived dev builds and unreleased titles that have leaked over the past 20 years. There is a literal sea of content out there to explore, and the key to all of it is a modded Xbox 360. Especially with the current state of Xbox being more hit than miss, now is a better time than ever to revisit the glory days. Though to give them a little bit of credit, Microsoft are reportedly reviving their internal backwards compatibility initiative to some degree, with some speculating that maybe, just maybe, you might be able to play your Xbox 360 library on PC. Honestly, that would be pretty cool. If Microsoft are truly looking to win back the goodwill they've lost over these past 2 generations, it might not hurt to start revisiting what made Xbox great in the first place.
All right. Well, that was a nice video. A very nice video. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do something. What was it? I wanted to do something. I don't think anyone's here though. Yes, I'll find someone to raid then. Let's see. That is the right message, everyone. Let's go and tell them hi, and hi, and hi.